Hello, welcome back, everybody. We officially have hit the second episode from the season finale. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing 5 episode seasons. Next season's gonna be next season's gonna take me a little bit to get figured out. I haven't mostly figured out, but it's gonna be my little break period. But yeah, let's get this thing rolling. Let's start. Same formula as always. Quote of the day. Um, this one's from Leonardo da Vinci. Art is born in constraint and dies in freedom. Now, what are we talking about today? Perfect example for today's episode, which is going to be what to do when you are creatively dead, aka artist block. So I want to start off a little bit with that quote is a little too agreeable because I found myself, and you guys have probably found yourself creating the most too when you were pressured in art school or in high school or whatever class you were taking that was requiring you to draw, because that's just our thing. You got a prompt, you had to do it, it had to be done. Now here's the thing. If you're like me, after a certain point of doing the assignments their way, you start doing them your way because you get frustrated. This is going back to the previous episode where I talked about finesse. This is where your finesse shows because your creativity is constrained. You have to do it their way. They said draw a flower. You have to draw a flower. But did you read the paper? Did you read what it had to, or the rest of the prompt? Did it say it had to be hyper realistic? If it's hyper realistic, then that one has to be followed to a T. But if it's just draw a flower, well, how are you going to change that flower up to be more you? I drew a flower bud as eyeballs once, inspired by one of my friends. She's a great creative. But see what I mean? There's strength in your creativity when it's constrained. And now that I'm out, I have a lot of trouble creating because I have too much going on up here in my brain. And I don't know how to go about executing it because it's hard. The longer you go on without creating, which this episode, I'm going to be straight honest with you. I'm a bit of a hypocrite today because I was doing good. And now I'm doing absolutely terrible. But I'm doing this now. This is my form of creating. So now I want to go over today is what to do about it. So you've graduated or you stopped taking art classes. You want to draw. You're going to draw, paint, whatever, sculpt. Anything artsy fartsy. And you go, dang, I really want to draw this today. I want to create this today. It'd be cool if I did it this way. What if I did that way? What if I use this? No, how about this? Or how about both? Or how about this? And you go, wait. Now I don't feel like making it anymore. Why? You have too much creative freedom. It's really hard when you have too much creative freedom on your hands to make whatever you want, whenever you want, how you want it. It's a lot. And I find a lot of artists do get stuck more often trying to create when they don't have something pushing them to do it. And the best way to push yourself to do something is you yourself once you're out of someone else telling you to do it. Because it's going to get to a point where you get frustrated with yourself. And I got to that point not too long ago where I was like, I'm going to draw. And I felt my skills going away. I couldn't draw a hand. So I sat there and I was like, I'm going to draw 3 hands. And my hands got better as I went on, but still, it showed a bit of my, the stuff I liked working on just ain't there no more. Like, what am I supposed to do here? But another thing that needs to be done is, how to compartmentalize your thoughts. Big word, compartmentalize. So you just got to organize your thoughts. Don't, just because you have a lot of ideas doesn't mean you're not going to be able to create. It just means you have to pick your favorite. What I would do for that is I'd doodle. Something simple, just to get my juices flowing, is I'd doodle something. It was hard at first because it was just like, oh my God, What do I do? And I'd be like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw something from my cartoon shows as a kid. And I'd draw like Chowder, Rick Kimchi from Chowder, Garfield, something something easy to get me warmed up. And then I like observational drawing a lot because it's, you know, your prompt is what's in front of you, and you throw your spin on it. That's one thing that I used to do a lot. Is I just go find a spot, draw something, person, anything, lizard, object, scene. However, it's not for everybody. That's definitely a good way to get back into it. What you really got to do, if you can't do that, is go to Google and get a drawing prompt, just so you can get warmed up. These aren't serious doodle. These aren't serious drawings. None of that. This is just you getting your juices flowing. You don't have to do it every day. It's preferable if you do, but if you don't, maybe every other day, maybe once a week, maybe 2, 3 times a week. But put some effort in, man. It's hard. I get it. It's really hard. It's a struggle. But, one thing that I found that helps me out is going back to the mediums you're good at. I learned watercolor, doesn't mean I'm the best at it, but I always go back to my basics, pen and paper, because I like inking. And my shading, I like a lot more than my watercolor. So what I do is I go back to that, my comfort medium, and I use it until I feel like I can go branch out again. There was one time I went to a park by my house and I drew a sunset happening with a gazebo and two people shaded out, so it's very vague in my style. And that helped me get going a lot. Another thing I found that helps me out is, revisiting mediums that you're not comfortable with. I went back to digital recently. I hated digital. I still do. It's not as rewarding as traditional medium. To me, it very much feels like a pulse of immediate gratification. It doesn't feel like I put enough work in. Not going to say anything in digital artists. They do put in a lot of work. Their skill set is up here in that medium. However, I'm primarily stuck traditional. I don't feel the same reward as the next person who's doing digital when I do digital. Do I feel better now that mine's improved because I sat down and dedicated time to get it better? Yes, marginally. But here's the thing: it's still a form of creating, regardless if you're not getting rewarded as much. But branch out, do something new. Like do go back to the basics. Even I find myself shading spheres still every now and then, just because I want to make sure my shadows are on point. And it's something quick and easy to do. It's not hard to go in and go, hey, I'm gonna draw a ball with a dark side. Like, that's not that hard. And you can test out different shading methods too. You can crosshatch, you can hatch, you can blend your shadows. I know it's not easy when you're out of school, but you gotta push yourself. That is the key mindset changes. Push, push, push. Find other creative outlets if you can't create the way you want to. This is my form of new creativity. I got a way to give y'all advice and put my name out there in the space. Because what good is sitting around doing nothing when I have a lot of ideas and I want to yap and provide the world of artists that are struggling out there, or want to understand a bit more about what they studied, or just have or have a similar perspective to me, and want to hear the same mind talk about it. Because I know I wanted this. It gets hard out there, man. No one likes to talk about studying this and coming out and being in a completely different field. Because guess what? It's just like sports. Only instead of you getting drafted into your favorite team or a team in general, do you have the connections when you get out to be in this world? I know I don't. Right, I bit that bullet. I'd bite it again. But enough of that rant. Let's go back to the creative exercises. One thing that I find that helps is, social media kind of ruins creativity in a sense. Maybe take a little Instagram break from your main, if you have multiple, and just focus on a separate profile that you have if you have it. And this goes for all social media. And just look at art. Something as simple as like a photo edit. Photo editing is an art form in itself. It's how you manipulate your muse. You can manipulate a muse for a still life, or cut something out that you don't want in the photo and then draw it that way. Or better yet, just have the photo edited so it can be your own piece that way. Anything like that. Go to Pinterest. Pinterest is phenomenal for inspiration, by the way. I'm pretty sure most people know that, but I'll just say it. X and slash formerly Twitter, they're all right for inspo. It's okay to have these things because we're not constantly bored anymore. Like, our phones are at our fingertips. There's no such thing as bored anymore. To be bored is to put your phone down. That's another thing that helps. Great. Wow. Segue. Stop using your phone so much. Because when the more you use your phone, the easier it is to be entertained. And when you're entertained, you're not as creative as you are when you're bored. Creativity thrives in boredom. Especially when you haven't created in a while. I really found myself when my power went out during two of the hurricanes that hit Florida. I was so bored. I started reading, and guess what that did? That got me drawing because I started reading descriptions and it started giving me ideas of what color palette to use, how I wanted to draw something, when I wanted to draw it. Because it wasn't immediate. I was like, as I would read, I'd be like, oh, this is one. My brain was being stimulated. Two, I was using that as like leverage on myself that I didn't have an excuse anymore because it was being provided to me. And it's true. I read Frankenstein with a friend. You'll be on next episode. My old studio neighbor. Keep in tune for those teasers. Those will be coming out. But him and I read Frankenstein, and one of the first things that I got inspired to draw was an octopus on my Redbubble, by the way. Trying out Paradise. That's on my Redbubble. One of my favorite designs. But I decided to draw an octopus because we were reading the letters at the start and they were all nautical based. I was like, what if I did like a green octopus inspired by Frankenstein? Because it's kind of like grim. And those creatures aren't exactly like welcome among all people. They're alienated. So it's just like Frankenstein. He hides deep in the woods. Octopus hides deep in the ocean. It was a 2-and-2 moment for me. So yeah, that helps a lot. Find avenues that like read. Do something that involves you not watching a TV show. That also kills creativity because you get lazy. Be active. Keep yourself active. If you're active, you'll find ways to get creative too because one, your brain is being activated, is being used. I feel like we live in a generation that is very easy to be like, I'm tired. I'm guilty of that. I do that a lot where I get out of one of my two jobs, if not both, and I go home and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gym because I have to. I don't want to, but I have to. And then I put mandatory when I get out of a job, nap. I'm exhausted. And then I get really lazy because I get up and I'm like, no, I really don't want to do anything. And I look at myself and I'm like, okay, I got to do something. So the same motivation you use to make yourself do something when you're not feeling productive, apply that to your art. That is crucial. Those are very similar mindsets of it needs to get done. You know what else also helps? Like, go look at what other artists are doing. Not to compare, but just to be like, oh, hey, I like that. Go to a museum. Museums are inspiring, especially when you're like stuck. You have so many things to sit down and draw. Like it's not an excuse anymore when you're there. Bring a tiny little travel size sketchbook with you, a pen, a pencil, a gouache set, whatever you need, markers. Sit down, soak in all the art that's around you, and just draw. Draw till your heart's content. Make thumbnail sketches. Make real sketches. Up to you. But once you get that juice going, don't let it go out. I let mine go out recently. I was working on a little digital project, got sidelined, had too much on my plate. That's why my upload schedule for this is a little wonky, but I'm doing what I can when I can. This is how I push myself to create. I want y'all to have a voice in me. So just, keep finding ways. Like, you don't have to draw all the time you're out. Soak up moments. Go enjoy aspects of life you don't typically enjoy so you can free your mind of the negativity that not being as creative as you want brings to you. Because at the end of the day, what you got to remember is you're responsible for the mindset that is putting you in this slump, creative wise. And it's because when we get out of being pushed, we typically go, look at my skill set. I'm flourished. I've flourished. I feel like I'm on top of the world. I'm going to draw later. I'm going to take a break right now. And a break is perfectly warranted. When you're creating too much, a break is needed. Just like a job. Crazy. But the thing is, don't take too long of a break. This isn't a job in that sense. It's a job to keep it up. Because if you take too long of a break, you're going to get comfy doing nothing. And nobody wants to get comfy doing nothing because you're going to get stuck. And I, for one, don't like the position I'm at because I'm stuck. I have projects that are waiting to be finished. I'm going to try to finish those. I was on a good roll. I promise I'm keeping them up. But what we got to realize is soon, not soon, when you get out of being pushed, like, it's not easy. And that's okay. Understand that it's okay that it's not easy to create when you don't have someone forcing prompts down your throat for a grade. Something as simple as like asking friends around if they want you to draw anything for them, or just being like, hey, give me a prompt. That helps a lot. Because then you're drawing what they ask you to draw, not what you want to draw. Or create. I should start saying create more. I just jumped to my comfort medium, which is drawing. But simple stuff like that, like go around to friends and family being like, hey, what if I drew this? You'll be like, how are you gonna do that? You go, by doing this, this, and this. Boom. You just figured out how to constrain your creativity in a good way. You just nailed down your set of ideas. You did what you had to do for your brain to put it all together. And then you can act on it. It's okay to do stuff like that. Because guess what? At the end of the day, it's your job. You don't really got a choice in it. We all try to work the best we can to create when we can. That's also a key mentality. Create when you can. don't always force yourself to do it, because once you start forcing yourself to do it too much, you're not gonna like it as much. Don't treat it as like a spur of the moment type of deal, even though sometimes creating spur of the moment restarts your creative cycle. That's another thing. When you have that urge to draw something right away, don't matter where you're at, if you have a tiny little piece of paper and something to act on it with, don't let it stop. Take that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, lay it out, boom. Now you know what you're doing later. It's honestly, it's hard. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's never been easy. Because, you know, what about art is easy? It's technique, it's study, it's finesse, it's a cultural carrier, it's history. It's a lot. You don't just study art to learn how to draw, paint, or do anything like that. You study art to study art. You know, you gotta get some history lessons. It teaches you to appreciate the subject matter more. You know, that's another thing that could work. Go read some art history. Read stuff that makes you mad, that gets you emotional. Not just mad, but like something that'll trigger your emotions in a good, creative way. Like if I get frustrated, not gonna lie, sometimes I take it out and I go, I'm gonna draw because this artist makes me mad. And I need to put this somewhere. Like I'll look at Damien Hirst's work and I'll go, okay, time to go create. I feel like I can do something better for me than waste my time doing this. Or like I'll look at my figures because I'm a big old nerd and I collect figures, a whole bunch of Dragon Ball, Star Wars. And I use them as models. It's fun. I get to learn anatomy and drapage again. Because guess who's out of practice? Don't even get me started on my portraiture because I'm not being pushed to do live drawing sessions anymore. But you know, it's okay. I'm getting back on it. And you should too. It's worth it. We made the decision to pick to go the way we did as a creative, and that's okay. Don't That's another thing. It's like don't push yourself too hard to do something. But definitely put some effort in, because if you don't put any effort in the long run, you're gonna bite the bullet. You're not gonna be able to do anything because you're stuck. And I, for one, know that this feeling is terrible because not only do I feel like I'm not using my skill set or developing it further, I just feel like I'm not. It just feels like it's just not there right now, and I know it is because I do want to draw. I doodle every now and then at one of my jobs. Whenever I can, I try to, but you know, it's not like I sat down and made a masterpiece. I'd like to sit down and make a masterpiece again. I want to sculpt again. You know, I have ideas that my compartmentalization has gotten better because of what I'm telling you now. I'm able to hone in on ideas that I want to execute, how I'm going to do it. Problem is just finding the time. It's another thing. There will always be a way to find time. It's just hard sometimes when life gets in the way. And if life gets in the way, so be it. Bite the bullet. Take your time to get back, because at the end of the day, you don't want to get back to creating out of spite. You want to create because you enjoy it and it's something that overall, you know, you're proud of. And this episode is going to be a little bit shorter because there's not really much I can give you on that, because what I've given you is what I'm going through, what I've gone through, what other artists have gone through. But at the end of the day, I know I say this a lot, create for you and don't focus too much on don't focus so much on the how you're going to do it, It's in that moment that you know what you're going to do it. Don't stop creating. Just because it's hard when you have too many ideas, find a way to use those ideas and turn them into multiple sets of what you're going to do and use that creativity wisely. I know you're capable of it. Everyone else knows you're capable of it. Now use it. All right, folks. Keep an eye out for the next episode. It's the first duo episode and the last of the season. These are all going to be 5-episode seasons. Keep a lookout and keep creating.